Live and in color from Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, it's the 1969 World Series as the New York Mets versus the Baltimore Orioles for game number 2. Now, here are today's commentators, Kurt Gowdy and Tony Kubek.
Another beautiful sun-bathed afternoon here in Baltimore. Temperature in the 70s, just a slight breeze, and a perfect day for baseball again. I'm Kurt Gowdy. This is Bill O'Donnell, a broadcaster of the Baltimore Orioles. And down in the stands to Rome to bring you highlights, and special guest will be Tony Kubek. Well, Baltimore did it yesterday with a combination that carried it to an easy American League championship. Strong pitching, sharp defensive plays when they had to have it, and timely hitting. The Mets, of course, hope to split now in the enemy ballpark and then go home with 3 games starting in New York on Tuesday at Shea Stadium. We have 2 left-handers pitching today. One of the bright young stars of the New York Mets, Jerry Koosman, is going to be going. And Jerry, of course, won 17 games this year. He missed nearly a month and still won those 17. He had the 5th lowest earned run average in the National League. Jerry Koosman is going for the New York Mets. A left-hander is going for the Baltimore Orioles. That's Dave McNally. Koosman is 25. McNally is 26. McNally won his first 15 games of the year against no losses. Then went on to post a record of 20 wins and 7 losses. The last time he pitched in a World Series, he shut out the Dodgers 1-0, and just a week ago today, he shut out the Minnesota Twins in 11 innings, winning 1-0, giving up just 3 hits. Those are the pitchers. The weather's great, and now to tell you more about the game, here's Bill O'Donnell.
Thank you, Kurt. I think Mets fans, and I'm sure the Met ball players, can take a little bit of heart from a World Series standpoint if they just look back to what happened a year ago. The home club a year ago, namely the Cardinals, won the first ball game. Then the Tigers came back, and they won the second ball game behind Lolich. Additionally, the Mets can take heart from how Seaver and the relievers handled the power of the Orioles here yesterday, namely Blair, Frank Robinson, Powell, and Brooks Robinson, limiting those 4 power boys to only 1 base hit in 15 times at bat. As far as our ballpark here at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore is concerned, you remember that yesterday we commented that although it is only 309 feet down both the left and the right field foul line, this indeed is a tough park in which to pull. Yesterday, convincingly, there were really only 2 balls that pulled with conviction. The home run by Buford down the right field side and the sacrifice line drive to left field by Weiss in the 7th inning, which produced the only Met run. Yesterday, really pitching predominated more than did the hitting. Well, Tony Kubek has a guest downstairs, and let's go down to Tony right now.
Thank you, Bill. We're standing here in the commissioner's box with Commissioner Bowie Kuhn, and right to my right, Joe DiMaggio, a name that I think everybody remembers. And, Joe, this has been quite a year for you. Named on the all-time great team, it's been some summer.
Well, it certainly has, and thanks so much, Tony. The thing is, I wish we had been in the World Series, but here I am attending it and I'm enjoying it.
Joe, you, of course, viewed this Baltimore Orioles ball club all year long in your capacity as a vice president with the Oakland A's. What are your impressions of this ball club?
Well, they're an assured ball club. I have never seen a more confident one. I have seen them all year. The thing that impresses me more than anything else is the fact that they will make a physical mistake every so often, but no mistakes they do not make. They know just when to run, they know when to make the cutoff plays. They do it all very well. Their pitching, we know without a doubt, is very fine.
What about this Mets ball club? Have you seen much of them this year?
Well, I haven't seen too much of them. I saw some of the playoff games, and I'd have to say that Gil Hodges has done just a fabulous job in getting this young team together. The most outstanding thing that they have in their ball club, naturally, is their pitchers. But you have to give that catching a little credit, too. And there again, I'd have to say that Yogi Berra has done a fine job in working with some of these boys, as well as that coaching center.
Joe, you know, talking about center field for just a little bit, something I noticed, of course, you were a great center fielder, and you played fairly shallow throughout your career in Yankee Stadium. You had a lot of room to room. Have you had a chance to see Paul Blair? He plays very shallow.
I certainly have. As a matter of fact, I commented on that just the other day with McNally and some of the American League officials in that box. And I said, that man plays an awful shallow center field. We'll blow it up there. Why, a line drive certainly can go over his head. And at that time was a critical point. There were two men on base. He does play an awful shallow center field.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the third baseman for this Baltimore ball club. You've seen some great third basemen and played with some, too. What about Brooks Robinson? What about the play he made yesterday?
One of the finest, I think, that I have seen in all my baseball years. I didn't get to see Robinson too much up until the time that I went to spring training with the Yankees, and I saw a lot of Boyer. And I think that Boyer was about as fine a third baseman I've ever seen. But this man has to be his equal, if not, possibly a little better. Like that one play he made coming in and all in one motion and throwing from any position and getting that boy at first base, he did a great job. And I think everything he does around third base is just great.
Joe, let me ask the Commissioner of Baseball a question. Commissioner, we saw another fine ball game again yesterday, but I think you'll agree it's not over with yet. These Mets fans can't wait to get up to New York City.
Well, the Mets have been climbing for the last 8 years, Tony. They're used to looking up, so I don't think the Mets are giving up at all. I think we're going to have quite a series from here on in.
Well, with the playoff against the Braves, every time Henry entered and hit a home run, Garrett came along and hit one, then Boswell came along. They're a club that just doesn't give up.
Well, this team has shown a great deal of bounce back, the Mets ball club, and I think you'll see it again.
Commissioner Bowie Kuhn, Joe D., thank you so much. Now let's go on back upstairs.
And now we're going to meet the starting lineup and the individual members of the Baltimore Orioles and the New York Mets.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Memorial Stadium for the second game of the 1969 World Series. Here are the official lineups. First, the New York Mets. Here is the manager of the New York Mets, number 14, Gil Hodges. Batting first and playing center field, number 20, Tommy Agee. Batting second and playing shortstop, number 3, Bud Harrelson. Batting third and playing left field, number 21, Cleon Jones. Batting fourth and playing first base, number 22, Don Clendenin. Batting fifth and playing right field, number 4, Ron Swoboda. Batting sixth and playing third base, number 5, Ed Charles. Batting seventh and catching for New York, number 15, Jerry Grote. Batting eighth and playing second base, number 6, Al Weiss. Batting ninth and pitching for the Mets this afternoon, number 36, Jerry Koosman, who is warming up on the sidelines. And here are the remaining players and coaches of the New York Mets. Now, for the Baltimore Orioles, here is the manager of the Orioles, number 4, Earl Weaver. Batting first and playing left field, number 9, Don Buford. Batting second and playing center field, number 6, Paul Blair. Batting third, playing right field, number 20, Frank Robinson. Batting fourth, playing first base, number 26, Boog Powell. Batting fifth, playing third base, number 5, Brooks Robinson. Batting sixth, playing second base, number 15, Dave Johnson. Batting seventh, catching for Baltimore, number 8, Andy Etchebarren. Batting eighth, the shortstop, number 7, Mark Belanger. Batting ninth and pitching for the Orioles this afternoon, number 19, Dave McNally, who is warming up on the sideline. And here are the remaining players and coaches of the Baltimore Orioles. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and join in the singing of our national anthem, which will be played by the York Suburban High School Band. That 15-star flag you saw is a replica of the original flag that flew over Fort McHenry in 1814. And the second game of the 1969 World Series being brought to you from Baltimore as the New York Mets meet the Baltimore Orioles.
You, Baron von Stiegler, the saber champion of Heidelberg 3 times, spoiled by this plague with the miracle plastic coating so the edge of the cold steel doesn't touch your face from any shape. You will never face cold steel again. Oder fließen an der rechten Seite nach rechts Negern. Hey, that's a real sword.
Harold,
Yes, Valerie?
we've got to stop meeting like this.
I know. Your father will be needing his regular right guard.
Well, one shot and he's good for the whole day, you know.
But I didn't mean anything by it.
Well, it's your parents who'll come barging in for the silver light guard.
Well, the antiperspirant. It stops odor and helps keep us dry, too.
Two kinds of people, two kinds of right guard.
Valerie?
Oh, hi, Guy. You're Mona's kid, aren't you? Here, Dad, and Sid! Sid!
24 station identification. This is... Mrs. Babe Ruth has just tossed out the first ball, or maybe she's going to do it again. The widow of the man voted the greatest player of all time in baseball, Babe Ruth, who was born here in Baltimore, Maryland. And now she repeats the toss to Andy Etchebarren, the Baltimore catcher. Mrs. Ruth was flanked by Joe DiMaggio and Ted Williams, two members of the all-time living outfield. Willie Mays is the other. Ruth was voted the greatest player of all time. The Orioles are breaking on the field, getting a roar from the hometown fans. And we're just about ready to go now for Game 2, and here to set up the Baltimore defense and take you into the opening 4.5 innings of play-by-play, Bill O'Donnell.
Thank you, Kurt, and hello again, everybody. It'll be Boog Powell playing at first base this afternoon for the Orioles. And at second base, chatting with the second base umpire, that is Dave Johnson. At shortstop, man with a very good glove, like Harrelson of the Mets, this is Mark Belanger. And the man with a vacuum glove at third base, Brooks Robinson, who had the play of the ball game defensively yesterday. Out in left field, this is Don Buford. In center field, the man of whom Joe DiMaggio spoke so glowingly a couple of moments ago, Paul Blair. The right fielder is Frank Robinson. The catcher, who was not behind the plate yesterday, this is Andy Etchebarren. And the second game, Baltimore starter, young man from Billings, Montana. This is Dave McNally. He makes his year-round home right now in Baltimore. McNally, whom Kurt commented about during his pregame conversation, won 15 ball games in a row before he suffered his first setback. Actually, he strung a streak of 17 victories in a row, going back to his last 2 wins in 1968. And then McNally got beat by the Minnesota Twins to break that streak. This is Tommy Agee now to lead off for the Mets. The Orioles lead 1 victory to none. These two clubs will go to New York after this ball game. Tomorrow is considered the travel day, with Game 3 on Tuesday. Now, it's Game 2, and McNally, first pitch of the afternoon. A curve and a strike. In McNally's last appearance, that was in an American League Championship Series game, Game 2 against the Twins, his fastball was actually even more effective than the breaking ball. 1 strike. Here's the fastball, 1-1. On deck, this is Bud Harrelson. Agee went after the outside fastball, a ball and 2 strikes. Agee extremely aggressive, and he'll go for that outside pitch. Unusual for a leadoff batter like Agee to have as many RBIs as he had this year. He drove over 76 runs, batting from the top 5. 1-2. Foul tip past the throwing hand of Etchebarren. The catcher at whom you're looking caught all 4 games the last time the Orioles were in a World Series back in 1966. And he caught McNally in that series in games 1 and 4. One and 2 again to Agee. Still alive on the foul, right back in front of our NBC booth. McNally will, as you see him finger that ball, he'll place the ball right in the glove, and he'll get the ball in the glove exactly as he wants to grip it. 1 and 2. No play on the foul ball, drifting back of the Mets dugout.
I think the tip on McNally, Bill, that the fans should watch for, when he gets his curve over, that's when he's really tough. And when he ran into a slump in September, the Orioles said he went into the slump because he wasn't getting his curve where he wanted to.
1-2. And no play on that hot shot foul outside the Oriole dugout. During the season, the Mets manager, Gil Hodges, pointed out, especially late in the season, quite a few of his ball players who made the outstanding contribution, and Agee was included in that list. Out number 1, McNally hangs up his first strikeout. The umpires working today, Frank Sikori of the National League at the plate. First base umpire from the American League, Larry Knight. Shag Crawford from the National League at second. The third base umpire, by the way, working his first World Series, Lou DeMuro of the American League. The foul line umpires, Lee Wire from the National League and Hank Storr from the American League. Strike one to the fouling, Bud Harrell.
Where that Albert slipped in. I've never, real name, but I've never heard him called Albert.
Harrelson went 1 for 3 in yesterday's opening game to the series, and those are his stats for the season. He sprays the ball, moves the ball around the outfield and the infield quite a bit. McNally will have to hurry his throw because Harrelson has speed. Just got to it. Harrelson was out by an eyelash at first base. McNally charged off the mound about 2 steps to the grass and towards the third base foul side. The Met coaches at the top of the screen. The third base boss is Eddie Yost, and there's the likable Yogi Berra, the boss of first base. There are 2 gone now on the top of the first inning. And here is Cleon Jones. Jones went 1 for 4 yesterday against Cuellar.
Number 21, Cleon Jones.
Jones, who finished third among the National League hitters during 1969, following Pete Rose and Roberto Clemente. Jones batted .340. 2 gone. We're just in the top of the first inning and just underway. Right one. On deck. This is called John Clendenin, the New York first baseman. You'll notice that McNally will not whip the arms in his windup over the head. He feels he has short arms, and he'd rather wind to the side of his head rather than back on top. The fastball fouled away. Powell giving it a chase, but it will drift in the seat. Jones led the Mets in many departments. McNally led the Orioles in a few pitching departments, including games started. He actually started more ball games than Cuellar did during 1969. McNally ahead, 2 strikes. No play again on the foul ball upstairs. You see that spot at which we're looking right now, and we just moved away from it. During a ball game this year when Sam McDowell was in here to pitch against the Indians, as some ball players do understandably, he got mad at an umpire's call, and he threw the ball 2 rows from the top of the upper deck. 1 ball, 2 strikes, Jones. That's how some school students here in Baltimore feel about their birds. They represent a school called Towson State College. 1 and 2. Powell has a chance over by the box seat. And that retires the side, 1, 2, 3. And so at the middle of the first inning, the score is the Mets nothing with the Orioles coming to bat.
Hi. I'd like this in my personal checking account and this in my savings.
If everyone who banked at the Commerce had the same kind of account, it'd make life a lot easier for us. But it wouldn't do much for you. So we've got 3 kinds of accounts.
Hello, Miss Hall. I'd like this in my personal checking account and this in my savings.
For writing checks, you need a Commerce personal checking account. You get a statement every month along with your canceled check.
This is for my savings account, and this is my personal checking
For saving money, you need a Commerce savings account. It guarantees you the highest savings account interest available at chartered banks in Canada.
Now, this for me, please. I've been writing a lot of checks.
For saving money and writing a few checks, you need a Commerce checking savings account. Commerce has 3 convenient types of accounts. Most people need 2, 1 for checking and 1 for saving.
Can you help me? I'd like to open an account.
If you don't know which combination you need, just ask. Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, one of the world's great banks.
Here's the way the Mets now will set up defensively behind left-hander Jerry Koosman. Don Clendenin, the New York first baseman. At second base, the clever fielding Al White. And a young man with a lot of range at shortstop to the holder back a second. This is Bud Harrelson, the shortstop. Third baseman for Gil Hodges is Ed Charles. Out in left field is Cleon Jones. And a man with a lot of range both in and back is Tommy Agee in center. And the right fielder, a Baltimore-bred youngster, by the way, Ron Svoboda. As he did yesterday, Jerry Grody will catch game 2 for the Mets. And appearing for the first time in a World Series, the young left-hander is Jerry Koosman. Koosman goes 6'2", 205 pounds, and this is how Koosman fared during the Mets' pennant-winning 1969 season. He won 17 overall, and he lost 9. Koosman, like McNally, leans on fastballs and good breaking stuff for his outfit. And the figuring before game time is that Koosman perhaps has the better fastball than McNally, that perhaps McNally has the better breaking pitch than Koosman.
Koosman's having trouble getting that mound to his liking. He's been scraping on it and digging and pounding out there. Every pitcher has his own feeling of the pitching rubber and how comfortable he is on his step-off.
All right, Kurt, here is John Buford, who led off yesterday's ball game on the second pitch with a home run. He bats from either side. Strike one. Of course, he swung left-handed yesterday to get that first-inning home run, and he drove over 2 of the Orioles' 4 runs yesterday. The breaking ball, it's a ball and a strike. Koosman, for the most part, with his pitches, will come from right on top. Against some left-handers, he'll go from the first base side. The let-up, and it had the place but a little bit high. 2 balls and 1 strike. Koosman missed quite a bit of the early part of the season, but yet wound up making 32 starts nonetheless. 2 and 1. 2 balls and 2 strikes. On deck, this is Paul Blair. Koosman had quite a record down in the minors a couple of years ago before being called back up for good by the big club. 2 and 2. Got him on the fastball right into his hand. So Koosman, as well as McNally, both picked up strikeouts against leadoff batters. And these are Mets fans and their biggest fans. Their owner, Mrs. Joan Payson. Paul Blair hitless in 3 trips yesterday and 285 for the year. Like Frank Robinson, Blair will crowd the plate quite a bit. Yesterday, Met pitchers served Blair more breaking stuff than good live fastballs. The changeup, Jones with plenty of room out in left field, and more room than even he needed. An easy play for the Mets and for Cleon Jones out in left and a quick second out. 2 up and 2 away in the bottom of the first inning. The Oriole coach at the top of the screen is Billy Hunter. The coach is third. And the first base coach is George Stallings. This is part now of the Oriole power cast. Frank Robinson, who ripped off 32 home runs, but was held hitless yesterday. Ball 1. As a matter of fact, he was fanned twice yesterday. The Met pitching did a fine job against Blair, both Robinson and Powell, limiting that foursome to only 1 base hit. 1-0. Deep right center field. Very deep, Adrian Swoboda. And Swoboda right in front of the 390-foot marker. That ball right to the marker. And so at the end of the first inning, the score is Baltimore nothing and New York nothing.
Swoboda made a fine play just before Frank Robinson came to bat. This breeze sprung up and is blowing in from right center toward home plate. Held that ball up just a bit. Swoboda got a good jump on it over there in front of the right center field area to keep it from going out.
Well, friends, this game is authorized under television rights granted by Major League Baseball solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner of Baseball is prohibited. Don Clendenin starts the top of the second inning. Strike 1 to Clendenin, who had a pair of base hits yesterday, including a double in the left center field power alley with Ron Swoboda coming on next. After the fastball, and not too much room for Powell with it back in the seat. Clendenin, for his size, gets down in a pretty deep crouch, and then when that ball comes forward, he tries to just strike and streak right for it. One and two. Clendenin, the only man this year on a visiting club to hit 2 home runs at Dodger Stadium against L.A. pitching. 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, didn't get the fastball through. McNally made 40 starts during the regular season. He completed 11 of them. He had 4 shutouts, including a 1-hitter against Minnesota. The curve missing. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The American League leader in starts was Denny McClain of the Tigers. He made 41 starts. So 2 men on the spot. Clendenin leading off the top of the second. He loses him. Walk number 1 in the ball game. And Clendenin, the leadoff batter now, becomes, from the Mets standpoint, the go-ahead run at first base. Well, the Orioles have been in 5 World Series games, 4 in 1966, 1 yesterday. They've never lost a series ball game. Here is Ron Svoboda. Svoboda yesterday against Cuellar was 1 for 3. He had a base hit his last time up. Powell holds. Clendenin is leading. Didn't get the fastball into his letters. He jammed it to the inside corner. Now, McNally has 2 kind of good breaking pitches, hard slider and a pretty good curve. He did not actually use the slider until last season. He came up with the slider as a new pitch a year ago. One ball, 1 strike. That's Frank Sikori of the National League doing the ball strike calling back of Etchebarren. Svoboda, who helped the Mets and made a great contribution during their pennant drive in August and September, drove over a lot of runs. 1-1. Should be playable by Powell. He's got a high sky in front of him also. And Powell with the glasses down against the high sky for the putout. The second game of the World Series today is being brought to you in living color on the World Series Network, and that's NBC. 1 gone in the Mets' second inning, and here's third baseman Ed Charles.
Playing third base, number 5, Ed Charles.
Charles was hitless yesterday in Game 1. A strike. The breaking stuff kind of fooled Charles as he yanked his head away. Frank Sikori, who just went out to check home plate, and now we're looking at the on-deck batter, Jerry Grody. Sikori has played in a World Series. That was back in 1945 for the Cubs. 1 strike. It's another one. McNally has been working tight to Charles. He gave him the low breaking pitch right into his knee. Now, this is not it's not a muggy day, but it is a warm day. And the warmth already showing in the perspiration of McNally. Johnson will get the 4th play, and there'll be no play to first base. Actually, Clendenin had to hold up. Clendenin could not move with conviction towards second base because Clendenin was not sure whether Johnson could actually get to the line drive before it hit the dirt.
Johnson had a similar play yesterday in the 8th inning. Harrelson hit him a ball just like that. That low line drive, getting 1 hopper. A tough chance.
Charles is now the base runner with 2 away in the top of the second inning. And here's one of the scrappy ball players on this Mets 1969 National Championship club, Jerry Grody, the catcher. Ball 1, Jerry. Jerry had a base hit yesterday, as the Mets got 6 hits off Cuellar, and the Orioles also had 6 off Mets pitchers. One-0 to Grody. Fastball right down the middle. It cut the plate and fell high. McNally, probably more than any other Oriole pitcher, spends very little time concentrating on the runner. Normally, all he'll do is give him a quick look. McNally's main concern, he will tell you, is to concentrate to the plate. He had the notion, and the strike was called by Sikora. 1-2. When McNally this year has had his biggest problem has been early in ball games when he's had serious control difficulties. More often than not, McNally has been strong late and weak early. On the way to second is Charles, and pulled down by Johnson. Etchebarren had some trouble. Etchebarren had some trouble on the loose ball, and I think Weaver is complaining to Sikora that Etchebarren was impeded and blocked by Grody. I think Weaver is complaining that Grody got in the way of Etchebarren.
I wonder if he's going to show us that little smile. Well, there he goes back to the dugout. He has sort of an angelic smile he gives the umpires, and it's become irritating around the league. Well, it's just his manner. He's a rookie World Series manager, has done a great job with these Orioles. Never played in the major leagues.
A wild pitch charged to McNally on the advance by Charles to second base. So for the first time early in the ball game, one club has the runner in scoring position. The count to Grody, 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. Had a notion again, but then Grody just checked the swing in time on that breaking pitch into his hand. Grody batted .252, but in many clutch situations, as this is Charles with his lead at second base, in many clutch situations for the Mets, during their pennant express drive, Grody delivered key base wallop. Pay pitch, 3-2 coming. And that bounced off the foot of Grody, and so that'll be a foul ball, and Grody will have to walk it off. There's no way that a sting like that on top of the foot wears off quickly. You just have to let the pain subside and just think about it and just chew down on the lip. But Grody being a catcher, and that probably is the one part of a ball club where you have to have your most scrappy type of ball player. A guy like Grody recovers quickly. Still 3-2, and that's Charles off second. Still alive. Right back to the screen on the foul ball. We have left-handers like McNally as starters today against Koosman. It will be right-handers due to start Tuesday at Shea Stadium in New York. Palmer for Baltimore, Gentry for the New York Mets. Money pitch again. Belanger or Blair should get to it, and they're going to give it Blair coming in and facing it. Blair for the putout in shallow center field. And so at the middle of the second inning, the score is New York nothing, Baltimore nothing.
Hey! Don't tell me. Don't tell Sebring. Sebring, I saw you race.
Beg pardon?
Mine, I recognize the car. Hot new job from Dodge.
Gorgeous. Thank you. It's $2 worth, please.
Hey, fellas, Mr. Giacometti, a racing fan.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the new Swinger 340. Nice. Belly suspension, huh?
Right.
Look at that performance to it. Must be something pretty hot under there, eh, Mr. G?
340 V8 with a 4-barrel carb. Look, fellas, I gotta pick up my girl.
More than one, Mr. G?
Bet they really go for this, baby. Dual chrome exhaust.
Yeah, and front disc brakes. Hey, that the new 3-speed stick shift?
Yeah.
Boom.
1970 Dart Swinger 340. If you don't mind wearing the look of a winner, you could be Dodge material.
Well, arrivederci. Tony Kubek is ready downstairs with an interesting guest. Tony, whom do you have?
Thank you. I've got Mrs. Babe Ruth down here. Mrs. Ruth, it was quite a thrill for you this year, I think, during the summer, to receive those awards for the Babe, wasn't it?
Well, it was the greatest honor ever bestowed upon Babe. And really and truly, I was speechless. I was so happy, and he could only have been here to receive them, but it was just great, Tony.
Mrs. Ruth, you know the Babe, I guess, having spent his boyhood in Baltimore, had a real warm spot for this town, doesn't it?
Yes, he always considered Baltimore his own, although he played most of his career in New York City. Baltimore was always nearest to his heart.
Mrs. Babe Ruth, thank you so much. Nice to see you out at the ballpark.
Okay, Tony. Look, I'll see you again.
Thank you very much. Now let's go on back upstairs.
Thank you, Tony Kubek and the lovely Mrs. Babe Ruth. In the bottom of the second inning, the ball game is scoreless. And here's the man they consider the Babe in Baltimore, Powell with a big bat. That let-up curve. Koosman trying to keep Powell off balance. Powell does have a tendency to lunge a bit. Pull the breaking stuff right into the seats, and that's fairly deep down the right field side. Koosman way ahead of Powell at 0-2. We commented about Blair, Frank Robinson, Powell, and Brooks Robinson being held by Seaver and Company to only one hit yesterday. This is Brooks Robinson on deck. Powell was the one who had the base hit. He tried to go crossfire from the first base side, Kurt.
I was talking to Powell today and asked him how he hit left-handers, and he said he had a seasonal average of .303 against left-handers this year. He's very proud of that.
1-2 delivery. He went with that hard stuff again from the first base side. Second year that this gentleman played organized baseball with the club of the New York Penn League, Auburn. He had an earner average of under a run and a half a game, and he fanned Powell on let-up breaking stuff for his second strikeout. 2 strikeouts hung up by Koosman. With Brooks Robinson now coming to the plate, we'd like to remind you that tomorrow night, Bob Hope plays host to Mr. Jimmy Durante, Tom Jones, Barbara McNair, and Donald O'Connor as Chrysler presents the Bob Hope Special. That's tomorrow night at 9, 8 o'clock Central Time, right here on NBC. Brooks Robinson, who made the play of the ball game defensively yesterday on pinch hitter Rod Gaspar's tapper on the grass. Ball 1 to Brooks. Dave Johnson will be batting next. 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes. The outfield right now is playing Brooks almost as deep in right as it's playing Brooks in left. Agee is giving it the long run, plus Harrelson retreating. It is Harrelson, the shortstop, back in shallow center field. Koosman has faced 5, has retired 5 in a row. And now here is Dave Johnson. Kurt, before the ball game today, chatting with Johnson in the clubhouse, we asked him if he was more relaxed going into the 69 series than he was going into the 66. And surprisingly enough, he said, I'm actually more nervous in this one than I was in my first one.
What's the old saying? A little knowledge is better.
1 strike to Johnson now with 2 gone. Andy Echeverry is on deck. And the Oriole bat boy right beside him, James O. Soft curve for a ball and a strike.
Koosman looks good, Bill. He's got that hard fastball, but that curve he's using for a changeup has been very effective.
One thing about him, Kurt, he doesn't waste any time. Give me the ball, let me throw it. 2 balls and 1 strike.
He explains that. He says, what else is there to do between pitching?
2 gone, bottom of the second inning. No score. Foul about 5 to 10 feet off that left field foul side. down the left field line, you will notice, as you look back to that 14-foot-high fence, there's actually only one short stride between the foul line right there and that restraining fence. So anything hit down that line is very difficult to play. Koosman 3-2 with Dave Johnson. Still 3-2. At the moment, and we're very early in the ball game, at the moment, Koosman seems far more in control of his pitches than Seaver did at the same point of the ball game yesterday. Koosman had retired 5 in a row, and he, like McNally, now have both given up a walk. McNally passed the leadoff batter in the top of the second inning, Charles, and now Koosman free tickets Johnson with 2 out in the bottom of the second inning. Echevarren, whom Kurt told you, like Powell, batted very good against left-handers. Echevarren and Hendricks were platooned all season long back of the plate. Agee got a tough play, but he made a good run for it, galloping to deep center field. Agee played it perfectly, timed it perfectly. And so at the end of the second inning, the score is New York nothing, Baltimore nothing.
One morning, Wally Buckley discovered he had a case of the nubs.
The nubs!
The nubs. The tiny little part of his beard his razor couldn't get.
They're all over my face.
Fortunately, the Gillette Techmatic razor gets rid of the nubs. Techmatic adjusts to shave you closer. Techmatic gave Wally the closest shave he ever had. No nicks, no cuts, no nubs.
Boy, that was close.
Techmatic by Gillette. It gets the nubs.
The groovy moving tempo, the marker that writes like a pen. What a smooth new move creation. Watch it go, that tempo. You're right, it's just an easy groove with its tip of nylon, tough and smooth. Get the marker that writes like a pen. Get a tempo, a tempo, a tempo.
Well, some 50,000 here at Memorial Stadium today, and among them are Tony Kubek and the chairman of the board of the Baltimore Baseball Club, Jerry Hofberger. Tony?
Thank you, Bill. Mr. Hofberger, your ball club had some kind of year.
Yeah, sure did have some kind of year. We're just pleased to be here and hope we can get through a few more ball games and win at least 4. Then we really have some kind of year.
I guess you're taking your crew up to New York to see the series up there.
I'm taking everybody who wants to go.
Hofberger, thank you so much. Congratulations once again. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, thank you, Tony. And Mr. Jerry Hofberger, Al Weiss has looked at strike one. He'll be followed by Koosman and Agee here in the top of the third. McNally and Koosman hooked up in a scoreless pitching duel. Fastball. He kept it outside to Weiss and hit the corner with it. Koosman with a windbreaker is on deck. 2 strikes to Weiss. One and 2. Weiss drove in the only Met run yesterday with a sacrifice fly to left field. Weiss has not played in this park since he was involved in the 1967 collision at second base with Frank Robinson. Well, about 20,000 umpires were in behind Frank Sikora. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The fastball, he got it for a base hit right down the pipe and belt high. Weiss got his kind of pitch and has drilled it for a base knock. That is the ball game's first base hit. So in the third, like the second, the Mets have the leadoff batter aboard. Charles drew a walk but was left. Actually, he was not left stranded, but eventually Charles was left stranded. Here's Jerry Koosman. He throws left, but that's from the other side. He had 4 base hits with the bat during the regular season. Weiss at first, nobody out. Robinson creeping up from third. Strike one to Koosman. Koosman taking a glance to Eddie Yost to find out whether the sacrifice bunt sign has still been flagged. Brooks still creeping up, getting all he can. It looked like Koosman wanted to bunt the ball towards first baseman Boog Powell. Now, some fellows are instructed, pitchers included. Some are instructed by managers or coaches. Try to bunt to certain fellows and keep bunts away from other fielders. And it looked like Koosman was trying to lay it down towards Powell rather than Robinson. Over there on the left side of your picture, Robinson still staying tight to the grass and keeps on moving in. They expect the bunt. And it was foul tipped off the throwing hand of Andy Etchebarren. Or no, it was missed off Etchebarren, but with a runner occupying first base, the ball obviously then was not touched. Or if it was touched on the second strike and it was fouled off, that's the reason Koosman has gone back to the dugout. That's the Oriole trainer, Ralph Talbot, with manager Earl Weaver, finding out just how much the foul tip on the second strike bothered Etchebarren.
Here it is. You ever see an old catcher's hands? That's ticked off the bat.
Number 20.
Well, they take a beating behind that plate with that bare hand.
One away now as Koosman tried to bunt on the second strike, fouled it off, and that will be a McNally strikeout. That will be his second strikeout. One away, top of the order, and here is A.G. Tommy A.G. struck out in the first inning. Strike one. A.G. is 0 for 5 in the series, and this is Harrelson on deck. A breaking ball, and McNally just let up a bit on that breaking shot.
Bill, in 9 of the first 10 batters that McNally's faced, he's had one strike on him. He's had that first pitch in there for a strike.
Powell holding and Weiss leading. Tough chance for two, and they just managed to get one because of the good range of Belanger. Belanger had to go deep to the hole.
Watch Belanger's range on this. He's a brilliant fielding shortstop. He's a great basketball star at Pittsfield, Massachusetts High School. Look at his agility. Gets that throw away with something on it, right on target. Belanger can range right, left, and he and Brooks Robinson really make it hard to drive a ball through that left side of the infield.
Two away now in the Mets' third inning. The runner at first base is A.G., who just rounded into that fourth play, with Belanger starting the great throw from the hold on the left side. This is Bud Harrelson, the shortstop. Ball one. Harrelson, neither big nor strong nor heavy. He doesn't go more than 150 pounds. That's one of the few times that McNally, during a ball game, goes to first base, as we mentioned. He's made his first move in the ball game to first base. Now, A.G. likes to run. He's aggressive with the bat, and he's also aggressive on the bases. Two and 0 to Harrelson. Harrelson picked up quite a few base hits this year, using the bat to bunt, and also likes to drag bunt. Fastball was too tight, 3 and 0. McNally right now is having his very first struggle situation of the ball game. And Etchebarren going out for one of two purposes, telling McNally that perhaps he's releasing the ball at the wrong spot. or telling him maybe that he'd like to throw Harrelson a different way. Harrelson, by the way, when he was in high school, was actually a third baseman. And when he got in the minors, he was changed over to a shortstop. 3-0. 4 pitches, and he loses him. McNally has now given up 2 walks. The biggest threat in the ball game by either side now being provided here in the top of the third. Harrelson at first. A.G. at second base. 2 out, and the batter is the man with the hot bat on this Met ball club, Cleon Jones.
Number 21, Cleon Jones.
Jones fouled out to first baseman Powell in the first inning. In the history of the New York Mets, nobody has ever carried a higher batting average than this young man. The highest average before Jones's 340 this year was held by Richie Ashburn, and that was in the Mets' very first season, 1962. 2 on, 2 gone. McNally struggling now with both the fastball and also that slider he threw too low and tight. That's A.G. at second base. Plus Harrelson at first base. With a good lead, he's not being held by Powell. Top of the third, no score. 1-0 to Jones. 2-0. McNally now has failed to find the plate in 6 straight pitches. After McNally picked up those 15 straight wins this season, on which Kurt commented, he had struggle situations with his control during the month of August. 2 balls and 1 strike. He kept the fastball a little bit outside on the corner to Jones. A.G. at second, and there's Harrelson, the runner at first. Jones, 2 balls and 1 strike. Three and 1. McNally now is really treading on thin ice here in the top of the third. At the moment, there is no activity in the Oriole bullpen, but there's some stirring going on out there. This fellow's moving around. Now, the Orioles have long relievers like Dave Leonard. 3 and 1. 3 and 2. Normally, long relievers are Leonard and Harden, and let's see, this is Harden, Jim Harden. And that's the bullpen coach right beside Harden. Watching him warm up, that was Charlie Lau. This is McNally, knows he's in a tough spot, knows he's got to concentrate, knows he can't give Jones too good a pitch on 3 and 2. Jones has power and a good clutch swinger. Jones can hit the ball up the middle and also to the power pocket. Runners go. Deep left field. Buford giving it a chase. And Buford almost lost that deep fly ball. He looked like he might have almost overrun the ball. That ball was really ripped to left field. Don Buford converted into an outfielder from an infielder. He's short. He has to go up for this one. Another foot or two, and the Mets might have had 2 runs in. And so, at the middle of the third inning, the score is New York nothing, Baltimore nothing. Well, we've only had one base hit in the ball game thus far as we go to the bottom of the third, and that was by Al Weiss to start the top of the third. Beginning the bottom third, here is Mark Belanger, the eighth batter, and the Orioles shortstop. Right center field with A.G. And A.G. with a good speed, backed up one step in front of the warning track. Now, unlike yesterday, with the exception of Buford's first inning home run, we've had a lot of long, hot shots in this ballpark within 3 innings. Dave McNally, who, like Koosman, although he throws left, bats right. And who, like all pitchers, loves to brag once in a while about a home run, such as he hit this season. Ball one to McNally. On deck is the leadoff batter, Don Buford. 1 ball and 1 strike. Koosman's fastball moving quite a bit. Actually, some people feel that Koosman's fastball moves even more than Seaver's does. He let up on the breaking ball. 2 balls and 1 strike. McNally never played high school baseball, but did play in the fine program out in Billings, Montana, provided by the American Legion. 2-2 to McNally. Koosman has been moving the ball around, especially working the inside corner to McNally and everything down to his knees. Koosman hangs up his 3rd strikeout and his 2nd out in the bottom of the 3rd. In the first 9 batters, the Orioles have had only 1 base runner. That was Johnson with a 2-out walk last inning. Here's Buford, one of the hitting heroes yesterday, and provided them with great strength as a leadoff batter all season long. 2 out, no score. Oh, what a magnificent play by Harrelson. Magnificent.
Well, we've seen 2 brilliant plays by these shortstops, Belanger, and now Harrelson comes up with one. Watch his dive for this one. A sensational stab here by Harrelson. Caught that ball about 6 inches off the ground, held onto it, even though his impact could have jarred it loose.
And so at the end of the 3rd inning, the score is New York nothing, Baltimore nothing.
There's a story to be told for every mile of iron road and for every man who moves those boxcars through. They put the trains together and they move them down the line, and they like the satisfying work they do. They work hard and they work long, but they always carry on till the last load and the last car is bound home. And when they relax with an ale that's bolder than the rest. Yes, O'Keefe is the hearty ale these men enjoy. O'Keefe ale satisfies best. O'Keefe ale, the right ale for right now.
Don Clendenin.
In the top of the 4th inning, it will be Don Clendenin, followed by Ron Swoboda and Ed Charles. Clendenin a lot will go after the first pitch, but had no chance to go after that one. Clendenin is known as the first ball swinger. Clendenin walked in the 2nd inning. One ball and 1 strike. One after the fastball. Frank Robinson's got a tough play to the fence in right field, and the Mets have gone ahead 1-0. That's almost in the same spot where Buford hit his home run yesterday for the Orioles, Clendenin with opposite field power just cleared the fence in the right field in front of the auxiliary scoreboard.
Clendenin has really been hitting in this series, yesterday and today. He's now been on base twice today. He had 2 hits yesterday. Look at that follow-through.
McNally serving ball 1 to Ron Svoboda. Koosman has held the Orioles hitless. The Mets have picked up 2 hits off McNally, including that blast by Clendenin. Off his feet right in the batter's box in a foul ball. McNally has just had a personal 14-inning scoreless streak snapped. And snapped indeed by Clendenin. And incidentally, Dave McNally also had 12 scoreless innings during World Series competition snaps. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Svoboda. On deck is Ed Charles. 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. When Svoboda was a Met rookie in 1965, he had 19 home runs, more than any other rookie in the history of the amazing Mets. Just trying to relax as he's swinging the shoulders around. 2-2. Still riding 2-2.
So far in this game, Bill, the Mets have hit harder shots off McNally than the Orioles have off Koosman. They've hit the ball hard 3 or 4 times right at somebody for outs, but they've stung the ball.
2-2 again. McNally has his 3rd strikeout and his first out in the top of the 4th inning. Well, Tony getting ready to talk to the very attractive Mitzi Gaynor, and I'm sure Tony's looking forward to that.
Ed Charles.
Ed Charles is the batter. Remember now, immediately following this game, stay tuned for American Football League action, where you will see the New York Jets at Cincinnati, Houston at Kansas City, and Oakland at Denver. Pretty tight to Charles for ball 1. The fastball. Belanger's got to make a hurried throw, and he got him by 1 stride. That was the chopper, and Belanger had no trouble bringing it down, but realizing that Charles has pretty hot feet and speed down the first base side, had a hurried throw. Jerry Grody's been up once today, fly to center field. The Mets are leading 1-0, batting in the top of the 4th on Clendenin's leadoff opposite field home run. The curve for a strike. McNally, a 22-game winner last year, a 20-game winner this year. Okay to Etchebarren. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gil Hodges in the Mets dugout along with Rube Walker, his pitching coach. Well, that Bird enjoying the World Series, and he's the only one to come in this ballpark without a ticket today. 1-1. Robinson, tough again, and made it.
Well, it's an odd thing. Brooks Robinson says this is not the hardest play for him. Usually it is for a third baseman. The secret, he says, is to pick the ball up as his left foot. Now watch him and throw off the right foot. There he is, picking it up on the left foot as it strikes, and then throwing as he lifts his right foot up. And he throws overhand. He says his toughest play is backhanding across the body to the line.
And so in the middle of the 4th inning, it's New York 1, Baltimore 0.
This man is going places, and wherever he goes, he takes along the pleasures of reclining seats, air conditioning, and stereo tape music. Most of all, he's accustomed to power, and he knows how to use it. There's a car for such a man. The 1970 Sport Fury GT. Plymouth makes it.
GT 70 to ramp 25 and hold. GT hold for 707 on runway 3. Runway 3 clear for Plymouth GT 70.
Owning a plane car doesn't make it. Going first class makes it. Plymouth makes it. Plymouth makes it.
So for a 1-0 game, we've had 4 brilliant plays here and a lot of action. We've had one by Harrelson, one by Brooks Robinson, one by Belanger. This is Paul Blair in the bottom of the 4th inning. Yanks the head out on that low breaking shot from Koosman. He got the fastball through to the belt, and he kept it right on the inside corner. So Koosman has gone soft curve and also gone with heat to the inside corner. And he's way in front of Blair at 2 strikes. Frank Robinson is on deck. This should be played by Harrelson or Weiss. It is Weiss waving off A.G. Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is
Number 20, Frank Robinson.
Frank Robinson now, the Baltimore batter, in the bottom of the 4th inning. He slid deep to right center to the 390-foot marker in the 1st inning. But Svoboda ranged far and deep to pull down the deep fly ball. Robinson is hitless in the series. The Mets pitchers have handled him 5 times. Ball 1. One away in the bottom of the 4th. Tough play for Harrelson, but he has a good range. Right back at second base. Another good range defensive play by Harrelson. 2 away in the bottom of the 4th inning. Harrelson, before that ground ball off Robinson's bat, had shaded the hole a bit. He was not blocking the hole, but was shading it. Powell fanned against Koosman in the 2nd inning. Now, twice when Powell was up in the 2nd inning, and let's see if Koosman does it again, Koosman came with good hard stuff from the first base side. Crossfire fastball. He came from the 3/4 side that time, ball 1. Brooks Robinson on deck with 2 outs. Mets are leading 1-0. Orioles batting in the bottom of the 4th. Al Weiss on a hot shot, one hopper to retire the side at the end of 4 innings of play. It's New York 1, Baltimore 0.
This man seeks inner happiness by suffering. He has given up food, clothing, shelter, but one thing he cannot give up, the Gillette spoiler with the miracle plastic coating that reduces pull. Each day he struggles to deny his face this pleasure and fails. He is in the most tragic sense spoiled. No blade feels like the Gillette spoiler, except the Gillette injector spoiler.
Who are you?
Oh, how you doing, Guy? I'm your neighbor. Oh, didn't I tell you we share the same medicine cabinet? It's a new modern apartment. Hey, I see you got Silver Right Guard. New antiperspirant. Yes, sir. Stop soda, keeps you dry.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I know all about that. I got the regular Right Guard. Yep, 1 shot and I'm good for the whole day.
2 kinds of people, 2 kinds of Right Guard.
Mona! Thank you, Bill. I've got Mitzi Gaynor down here. Mitzi, how are you enjoying the ball game?
It's marvelous. Of course, the World Series is about the most exciting event
event of all sports of the year.
You know, you're going to have a chance tomorrow to show some people all over the country a special, Mitzi Gaynor special. Is it a good show?
Oh, well, we think it's a good show.
You're being too modest.
Knocking on wood right now. I hope everybody enjoys it. It's on.
Who's going to be on the show with you?
Ross Martin is on the show with me, and he's one of the co-stars of the Wild Wild West show, and he's a brilliant man. I couldn't be more excited about him, and he does a wonderful, wonderful job in the show.
Mitzi Gaynor, what time is this going to be? And it's tomorrow night, isn't it?
It's tomorrow night, yes. It's October the 13th, and it's on 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time and 9 o'clock Central Time.
Mitzi Gaynor, thank you so much. You've added a lot to the ball game, especially for me. Thank you so much.
Thank
Two strikes
Let's
to
go on
Al
back
Weiss.
upstairs.
2 strikes to Al Weiss, and it stays there on the riding foul ball back to the screen. Weiss had a base hit to begin the top of the third. A looking third strike, and McNally has now hung up 4 strikeouts. McNally, during the regular season, in more than 230 innings of work, fanned 166 American League batters. And the applause from, naturally, a partisan Baltimore crowd, but a very good round of applause, is for this strong New York Mets pitcher, Jerry Koosman. Koosman has faced 13 men and retired 12 of the 13. Koosman fanned in the third. Got a piece of the McNally fastball. The Mets are leading 1-0 on the strength of the powerful home run wallop by Clendenin. One strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. It looked like Koosman had an early notion and then figured out that breaking stuff was too low and inside. 1-1 to Koosman. We've had this ball game featured by Clendenin's homer and some outstanding defensive plays, both sides. 1-1. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Koosman, when he was pitching against McNally, kept his stuff low and tight, and McNally working over his opposing pitcher the same way. 2 strikeouts in the inning, 5 strikeouts for McNally, the second time that he's fanned Koosman. Now McNally will go against the top of the Mets order, Connie Agee. Agee was robbed, perhaps, of a base hit back in the third inning when he grounded a hot smash to the hole at short, and Belanger turned it over into a fourth play at second base. Agee trying to pick up right now his first base hit in the series. Checked his swing, but not in time. Sikori, the National League umpire, claiming that he committed himself and snapped the wrist. One ball and 1 strike. Agee played the most games of any member of the Mets, scored the most runs, belted the most homers, and had the most RBIs. Off his shoes in the batter's box and fell. Agee and Cleon Jones had quite a battle for the RBI leadership. Agee wound up with 76. Jones had 75. Two away. The Mets are leading. They're batting in the top of the 5th inning. McNally, off and on, has had control difficulties, especially during the 3rd inning, but he survived the 3rd inning without a run scored. Fastball is strike 3 looking. He got it right to his letters. McNally fanned the side. And so at the middle of the 5th inning, the score is New York 1, Baltimore nothing.
One goes there. Yeah, and that one fits beside it. And this one goes. No, that one. This one goes right there. This one must go there. Go. That's British Columbia. Yeah. Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, and that's Ontario? Yeah, and it must be Ontario. Up here. that Uncle Beck? Yeah. Let me see, I know. Labrador? What's that? There it is. Here, this one fits right in. I'm gonna move that arm and do it a little bit. What's that one? Looks like another Newfoundland, but they can't be two. Oh, maybe it's, Brunswick. This goes here, right? This looks like Prince Edward Island. Nova Scotia sticking out there.
Canada. It's the best piece of real estate in the world. And the new high-interest Canada savings bonds let you own a piece of it. They're on sale now at the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce.
Tony Kubek has another guest downstairs. And, Tony, whom do you have?
Thank you, Bill. Down here with me is Sandy Koufax, and I think, Sandy, we're seeing quite a pitching duel.
We are, Tony. I think they're both capable of that. Mickey and I talked about it on the pregame show. They're both great pitchers. I said Koosman was going to have to do a better job. He couldn't do an equal job because I felt that Baltimore had a better ball club, and so far he has. You can't fault anything Jerry's done. He's done a great job.
Sandy, early in the ball game, Frank Robinson hit a ball in right field. It looked like it was going to go out, and the wind seemed to hold it up.
Well, I think the wind is blowing in a little bit from right today. And if you hit the ball high, it's going to keep it. It's not going to get out. The ball Clendenin hit was a line drive.
Brooks Robinson grounding out from third to first is Charles to Clendenin. And now let's turn over this NBC microphone to Kurt Gowdy.
Thank you, Bill. Robinson had previously flied to center. Dave Johnson up now. Walked his first time. The only man to reach base for the Orioles has been Dave Johnson. Koosman has struck out 3, walked 1. 1-0, New York, on Don Clendenin's home run. A ball. That curves over. It's been a big pitch for him today. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dave Johnson had leg injuries all year that hampered him. Change up. 1 ball, 2 strikes. On deck, Andy Etchebarren the catcher. Johnson also had some back trouble. Jerry Koosman delivers 1-2. 2-2 now. Koosman is from Morse, M-O-R-S-E, Morse, Minnesota, town of about 4,100. And they have a delegation here today. They're supposed to have a big sign somewhere down the right field foul line. The 2-2 delivery. Curve is 3-2. This is the second 3-2 count that Koosman's had in the game. Both on Dave Johnson. That's how sharp he's been with his control. 1 out, nobody on, the 3-2 pitch. Fly ball, right field. Ron Sloboda puts it away, and they're 2 down. When that ball leaves the bat, these outfielders have been flipping those sunglasses down today. What the ball players call a light sky. There's not a cloud in the sky. And that makes it a tough sky when you're looking up there in that bright sun. Andy Etchebarren. Fly to center his first time. They play him over toward right. They're 2 down, nobody on. That slow ball of Koosman. One ball, no strike. Ball. The Mets got lucky with this boy. He was pitching down in Fort Bliss, Texas. And a young fellow down there recommended him to his uncle, who was an usher in Shea Stadium. Told the Mets to look him over. There's a fly ball into the right field corner, deep. That ball is caught by Sloboda. That's twice he's been chased up against fences today. So it's 3 up, 3 down. And at the end of 5 innings here in Baltimore, the score, the New York Mets 1 and Baltimore 0.
These are the
good times, and good times just naturally go together with... Good times just naturally go together with Old Vienna.
We pause now for station identification. This is the CBC Television Network.
Bud Harrelson leading off. Bud Harrelson trying to bunt, popped up to Andy Echeverria. One away for the Mets in the top of the sixth. Harrelson previously had bounced to the pitcher and walked. Leon Jones is fouled out to first and lined out to left field to end the third inning when there were two runners on. The Mets have two hits. White singled in the third. Clendenon homered in the fourth. Baltimore's been held hitless and runless so far.
Kurt, World Series crowds are always alive, but I think today's crowd is even more alive than yesterday. We had one of these typical nail-biting types of ball games between McNally and Koosman.
One out, nobody on. 1-0 to Jones with Clendenon on deck. McNally has struck out 6. There's Clendenon. Now it's 2-0. He has walked 2. Jones is a good breaking ball hitter. Pops it up. Shallow right center. Waiting for it is the center fielder, Paul Blair, who yelled second baseman Dave Johnson off.
Kurt, this is Linda Wehrheim, the only female member of the ground crew, and when they sweep off the bases and also clean off the infield, Linda goes over, and normally she kisses the third base coach. Every once in a while, she'll take that broom and she'll hit the third base coach right in the back. But she did the delightful thing, she kissed him.
Ball 1 to Don Clendenon, who's walked and homered. Been on base 4 times now in these first 2 games. The third base coach was Eddie Yost with the Mets. Ground ball to second. A big hop to Dave Johnson, and the Mets are quickly out 1-2-3 in the top of the 6th inning. At the end of 5.5 innings to score, the New York Mets 1 and the Baltimore Orioles nothing.
Hey, boy, what's wrong, officer? Boy, you're in a heap of trouble. Violation of City Orders 11-14, operating a racing type vehicle inside the city limits.
Oh, officer, this is the new Dodge Challenger RT. It's not a racer.
Ain't I? What kind of tires, them, boy?
Optional CTs.
Racing tires. Them stripes, them, boy, what you call those?
Racing stripes.
I suppose that's a reconverted lawnmower motor.
Optional 440 Magnum V8.
What's that doohickey in there, boy?
Well, that's a new optional slapstick racing shift. So look, it's got concealed wipers, and it's got dual headlights. And you don't find that on any racer, do you?
Careful, boy. Our bookkeeper's has a law officer.
If you can handle the way people react to your 1970 Dodge Challenger, you could be Dodge material.
Now look, boy.
Well, baseball capping off a record season with innovations this year, new divisional play, championship series playoffs, and its all-time attendance record. And culminated in the World Series here with Game 2 in Baltimore, moving on to New York Tuesday afternoon at Shea Stadium, Gentry for the Mets, Palmer for the Orioles. And we'll be on the air on NBC at 12:30 Eastern Daylight Time next Tuesday afternoon. Mark Belanger, the last of the sixth inning, flied out his first time. And Koosman dropped that curve in. He's had a fastball, a curve, and a changeup. Belanger finished strong. The fastball is slide to right. Swoboda, one down. And let's see, Swoboda now has had 4 putouts. And 11 in a row now have gone down. Since Dave Johnson walked in the second, he's the only man to reach base so far for the Orioles. Dave McNally getting in line as he comes up. Koosman, by the way, has delivered only 51 pitches in this game. Foul back. New York leading 1-0. Last of the sixth inning. Ball 1 strike one. The Orioles didn't hit much the last 2 or 3 weeks of the year. There's Don Buford on deck. They had 2 tight games against Minnesota in their championship series. They've scored 11 runs in their 3rd game. The 1-1 pitch. Ball 2. 2-1 to Dave McNally. Koosman, 25 years old. Blew the fastball by. 2-2. Right back to the box. And they're 2 down here in the last of the 6th inning. At the top of the order we go now, and Don Buford, who struck out swinging in the 1st, lined to short, robbed of a base hit in the 3rd by Bud Harrelson. Buford, a switch hitter.
Number 9, Don Buford.
Two down, nobody on. Buford trying to bunt his way on. Strike 1 to him. All Blair on deck. We talked about Tom Agee leading his club in RBIs. Buford had 64 runs batted in this year. 1-1 to him. So we have 2 leadoff men in this World Series, both outstanding and driving in runs, hitting in that leadoff spot. The 1-1 pitch. Change up, bounce to short. Bad hop. Harrelson handles it, throws him out. And for the first 6 innings of this game, Jerry Koosman has pitched a no-hitter. At the end of 6, the score, the New York Mets 1 and the Baltimore Orioles nothing.
What man can resist it? The clean, crisp aroma of ocean surf. Get it in new Gillette Foamy Surf Spray Shaving Cream. A new fragrance, like the refreshing spray of a breaker. The foamy crispness of ocean whitecaps. If you've ever enjoyed the refreshing scent of ocean spray on your skin, you know what to expect in new Foamy Surf Spray by Gillette. Take the plunge today.
Car makers test their cars on roads. Gillette tests their razors on faces. We designed the Gillette Techmatic for faces like this, with a razor band that's less likely to nick as it takes the curves. Light to ride gently over life's little potholes. The revolutionary Gillette Techmatic. Take it for a test shave.
Let's go down to Tony.
Thank you, Kurt. Got Mickey Mantle down here, and Mick, it looks like Jerry Koosman is throwing the ball right by these Orioles hitters.
Well, he has real good stuff. I guess he's got a no-hitter up until right now, and from down here he looks a lot better than he did. I was out in the truck, in the NBC truck, watching him a while ago, and he looks a lot better from here than he did out there.
He's got a pretty good curveball too.
He has. He's got good stuff, and he's not giving them anything good to hit, and this is a tough ballpark to score in anyway. So it looks like it might be a long day for the Orioles.
Mickey Mantle, thank you so much. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, the Mets in the 7th. Leonhardt warming up. Dave Leonard warming up. That's the first warm-up action we've had in either bullpen today. Strike one to Sloboda, fouled out and struck out. Sloboda being played deep. Couple of strides toward left. One strike. 1-1. Koosman sailing along, and McNally now, since Clendenon homered, has retired 9 in a row. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fastball's inside, 2-1. Ron Sloboda. Three and two. Nobody on, nobody out. On deck, Ed Charles. Fly ball to deep right. Frank Robinson. Back by the wall. Oh, what plays we've had today.
Kurt, Frank had a little bit of trouble with the sun and with the high sky of which is close, but he had the ball in range all the way. And, of course, Frank knows how to play right field. He knew he had room going back against the fence, and then just banged a little hard into the fence, but kept the ball in the glove all the way.
Ed Charles hit into a forced play and grounded to short. 35-year-old infielder takes ball 1. Like to read some of his poetry. They say it's good. 1 out, nobody on. Lashes it down the left field line. This may be for extra bases. Buford playing to carry him off the wall, and into second is Ed Charles with a double. Well, the Mets now have 3 hits. The Orioles no hits. They catcher the Mets, Dave Grody, fly to center. Hit a slow roller to Brooks Robinson and made another one of his special plays on. McNally had retired, 10 in a row. Now the Mets are threatening here in the top of the 7th. Check swing foul. Paul Blair out in center field playing all these hitters shallow. We'll get a shot of him here in a moment. The one-strike pitch. All one-strike one. There he is. He has confidence in his ability to go back.
Kurt, there even have been times when Yastrzemski has been in this ballpark where Blair has played that shallow and then gone right to the fence to take away home runs from Yastrzemski, even playing that shallow.
1 ball, 1 strike. Brody hits it foul up in the seat. The Mets had a big delegation here that in the top of the 7th came up for the 7th inning stretch. And most of the Mets fans are in back of the Mets dugout for a spaceway. Dave McNally from the Big Sky Country, Montana. One ball, 2 strikes. High fly in a shallow center. Belanger, the shortstop, calling for this one, and they're 2 down. Montana, not only the Big Sky Country, but some blue ribbon South Streams out there, too. Al Weiss is singled and struck out.
Kurt, you do a lot of fishing. Is that Snake River a good spot to fish? Have you ever fished there?
I fished the Snake. It's very good. But they have Rock Creek and the Yellowstone and the Jefferson and the Missouri. We're going to put Weiss on. And they'll pitch to Jerry Koosman. The Mets will have runners on first and second. This is the 3rd walk by Dave McNally. The Mets are leading 1-0 here in the top of the 7th. I forgot the big hole, too. That's another great stream. Gary Koosman getting a big hand for his brilliant pitching here today.
Number 30,
He's a lifetime 062 hitter. There's a home of Koosman, the banner. Morse, Minnesota. His father is sitting out in that delegation. The delegation is 12. Koosman has struck out twice. Ground ball to second. Johnson's throw to Powell, and the Mets are out in the top of the 7th. No runs, 1 hit. There were no errors, and 2 men left. At the end of 6 1/2, it's New York 1 and Baltimore 0.
This Commerce Passbook guarantees you're getting the highest savings account interest available at chartered banks in Canada, 6.5%. What can a Commerce savings account do for you? It can put you in the sun country for a week and buy you 6.5% more sun. It can let you put a ring on someone you love and buy you 6.5% more diamonds. It can give you extra money to help raise a family and buy you 6.5% more peace of mind. And even if you never have to touch your account, it can buy you 6.5% more security. So what can a Commerce savings account do for you? It can buy you 6.5% more of everything. Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, one of the world's great banks.
Tony Kubek again.
Thank you, Kurt. Down here with me, Joe Garagiola, one of the funniest people anywhere, not just in baseball. Joe, Koosman's firing the ball by everybody.
I tell you, he makes the catcher look awful smart by the way he's pitching. He's changing speeds, and the toughest job for any catcher today is to remember what finger he puts down because he's not going to make any mistakes. I think his ability to change speeds has made his fastball so effective, and he's just been a tremendous pitcher, obvious by the scoreboard.
Joe, being based in New York, you've had a chance to see this Mets ball club all year long. They do have more than just pitching, don't they?
No question about it. I think they've got good defense, and they don't make that many mistakes. They don't beat themselves. They make you lose to them.
Plus, they've got a good tallier leading them, Gil Hodges.
Gil Hodges, and I can't forget my man at first base, Yogi. He's the secret weapon.
Joe Garagio, thank you so much. Right now, let's go on back upstairs.
Joe will be on the Today Show Monday morning and through the week covering the World Series for NBC. Game 3 will be on Tuesday on NBC starting at 12:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Ball Blair, strike one there. Hard. Blair slide to left and popped up. World Series report starts at 12:30 with Sandy Koufax, Mickey Mantle, and Ginny Simpson. Frank Robinson on deck, and then Powell. Curve. There's the first base hit of the game for the Baltimore Orioles. Koosman loses his no-hitter. Now the big boys are coming up for the Orioles, Robinson and Powell. Gary Koosman had set down 13 Orioles in a row since Johnson walked in the second. Ball Blair, good base runner, first base. He stole 20 bases out of 26 attempts back this last year. They're deep and straight away for Robinson. Foul ball back. He nearly put one out in the first with a long drive to right center. That forced Swoboda up against the fence, and he grounded out in the fourth to short. He's smart at that plate. He likes to guess with that pitcher, wait for his pitch. That's why he has so many check swings. One strike to him. That's what he does. The only man to ever hit a ball out of this ballpark, completely out of it, is at the plate right now, Frank Robinson. 66 seasons. Ball two. He hit one over the left field grandstand. Just, you see that sign right up on that pennant, right over that back wall. What a terrific shot that was. The only man to ever do it in this ballpark. There's a line drive to center. Tom Agee there for it. One away. Ball Blair scooting back to first. The New York Mets are leading 1-0. In the last half of the seventh, and Bruce Powell coming up and struck out and grounded out. For a fellow that has such a big swing and hits with such power, he makes contact. It's 3:04 for the season. The Orioles are warming up Tom Phoebus in their bullpen. Powell got a big hit for the Orioles this year in the ninth inning of the opening game against Minnesota in the playoffs. He had a leadoff homer to tie the game. The curve, fly ball down the right field line is foul. He didn't have a good swing on that. He was fooled. Early in the year, Powell was lunging a lot. On the baselines, he got into a collision with Tommy Fresh, hurt his hip, cut down in his swing, and it helped his batting average. A one-strike pitch. Outside to him, 1-1. On deck is Brooks Robinson. Ball Blair at first, one out. Mets are leading 1-0. Again, a sidearm breaking pitch at him, fooled. Fouls are back at 1-2. Koosman's coming in there sidearm to him. One ball, two strikes. Pops it up. Bud Harrelson, the Mets shortstop, waiting for it. Squeezes it out, number 2. And here's Brooks Robinson. Well, so far, the Mets pitchers are taking care of Robinson and Powell in this series. Brooks Robinson, 0 for 2. Koosman finished strong for the Mets this year. He had a 5-game winning streak at the end of the season. He was knocked out in Atlanta in Game 2 in their championship series. But he's bounced back today with a brilliant effort. The curve is a strike. Fastball, third, changeup, mixing them up. Brooks failed to hit yesterday. He's 0 for 6 so far after getting 7 for 14 against Minnesota. You know, he knocked in 84 runs during the year. When you consider hitting behind Powell and Robinson, who cleaned the bases a lot, it's quite an RBI total. There goes the runner. The throw by Grody. Blair steals second.
Blair with a pretty good jump on Koosman. Blair had 20 steals just in under the tag and in time.
Now the Orioles have the tying run at second, 2 down. A 1-1 pitch to Brooks Robinson. Base hit. This is going to be a tie game. Running in the scores, Paul Blair, and it's 1-1. Single, a stolen base, and a single have given the Orioles their first run. Dave Johnson has walked and flied to right. Cool in the curve. And Robinson gets back to first. No action right now in the Met bullpen. One run, 3 hits for the Mets. 1 run, 2 hits for the Orioles. Curve again, the ball, 1-1. What a stop by Ed Charles Forthway, another brilliant play in the game. Sensational infielding today on the part of both ball clubs.
Here comes now the 4th brilliant play we've had by infielders. Charles got his glove down just in time. He had the glove down, the ball right in the glove, then he had to straighten up and make the strong throw over to first base. Over to second base, rather, for the 4th play.
So the score at the end of 7 innings is tied. New York 1 and Baltimore 1.
There is a place that never sees the sun, half a mile down in the hard rock core. And it's worked by bold men who take the deep run down where the earth is rich laden with ore. This is where hardy men dig as a team at back-breaking labor down deep in the seam. It's dark and it's wet and they sweat for their pay, but they're satisfied men at the end of the day. And then their reward is an O'Keefe ale. It's bolder than the rest. Yes, O'Keefe is the hearty ale these men enjoy. O'Keefe ale satisfies best. O'Keefe ale, the right ale for right now.
We pause now for station identification. This is the CBC Television Network.
In the top of the 8th inning, Tom Agee up with a count 2-1. Hit hard to short. Mark Belanger over to Bruce Powell, and 1 out. Dick Hall, a right-hander, warming up. Right after today's World Series game, stay tuned for American Football League action. You'll see one of the following games, either New York Jets at Cincinnati, Houston at Kansas City, or Oakland at Denver. Bud Harrelson bounced to the pitcher, walked and fouled to the catcher. 0 for 2. Foul ball down the third baseline. Pitching and defense have sparkled today on both clubs. On deck is Cleon Jones. One ball, 1 strike. One out, nobody on. Brooke Robinson to his left. He's got him. He's down. The human vacuum.
Kurt Belanger was in position to get the ground ball, but Brooks cut right in front of Belanger. He had the glove down just like Charles did, and then he had to hurry to throw to first base to just get the runner by 2 steps.
You can see why Brooke Robinson says, I go all right to my left. I have a little trouble to my right. Cleon Jones fouled out, lined out to left field in the 3rd, flied out to center in the 6th.
Kurt, the one fundamental that Brooks Robinson talks about to youngsters during special baseball clinics, the first thing he mentions is when the ball comes off the bat, he tells youngsters, get the glove down, get the glove down.
Now with 2 down and nobody on, Robinson plays over and guards the third base line. First strike to Jones. Has to keep a ground ball or a line drive from going down there for extra bases with 2 away. He's won the Golden Glove Award 9 years in a row for the top fielding third baseman in the nation. American League. 1 ball, 1 strike. Score tied 1-1 in the top of the 8th. Curve is ball 2 to Cleon Jones, 2-1. There's Don Clendenin on deck. Curve, strike 2. The Orioles have the bottom of the order coming up in the last of the 8th. Etchebarren, Belanger, and McNally. Dick Hall's warming up in the Oriole bullpen, which means we may have a pinch hitter for McNally. We'll wait and see what happens. The 2-2 pitch to Cleon Jones. Foul. This boy wound up as the third leading batter in the National League. Year before, he ranked 6th in batting. Looks like he'll be up there in that top 10 for years to come. The 2-2 pitch, fouled off. Two down, nobody on. 2-2 to Cleon Jones. Fly ball to deep right. Frank Robinson drawing a beat on it. And the Mets are out 1-2-3 in the top of the 8th inning. At the end of 7 1/2, the game is tied 1-1.
Sport Truck 70, presented by your Dodge and Fargo dealers in the belief that a pickup should not live by hard work alone. Dodge and Fargo Sport Trucks with cushion beam suspension. Put one in a fun situation and just watch. It'll handle the good times with the same enthusiasm it tackles the tough jobs. Now, we aren't suggesting a Sport Truck handles better than a Challenger, but it does handle better than any other pickup on the road or track, and the ride is very smooth. That's cushion beam suspension at work. Sport Truck is one of the most comfortable vehicles you can own. Engines up to 383 cubic inches. Automatic, 3-speed or 4-on-the-floor if you choose. On the Adventurer, you'll find wood grain trim, padded buckets, and almost any option you'd put on a car. Sport Truck 70, responsive, agile, comfortable. Sport Truck 70, even more fun as an adventure-seeking camper special. Sport Truck 70 from Dodge and Fargo. Very hard to beat.
Cincinnati, birthplace of professional baseball, was also the site of the first World Series game. Chester Allen Arthur was president of the country when on October 6, 1882, the Chicago Colts National League champs clashed in an unauthorized series with the Cincinnati Red Stockings. Way back to 1882. And of course, this is baseball's centennial year. Andy Etchebarren has fly to center and fly to right. Ball one. On deck is Mark Belanger. Then the pitcher, Dave McNally. Line drive. One away. Al Weiss making the play. We've had a lot of balls hit hard, even though it's a 1-1 ball game. Mark Belanger fly to center and fly to right. Manager Earl Weaver says that Dave Johnson hitting number 7 at a 280 average and this boy hitting 287 meant 15 games in the standings for the Orioles, a strike down at the bottom of the order. Yesterday, the bottom of the order helped the Orioles come up with that 3-run inning. One strike to Belanger. Curve is over, strike 2. The National League umpires work a little bit different than the American League umpires in their position behind the catcher. Right. And now look, on the right-handed batter, Belanger's out. The National League umpires on the inside of the catcher. The left-hander on the other side. The American League umpire stands directly in front of the catcher. Dave McNally, with 2 down, nobody on, will hit for himself. Gets a big ovation here from these fans in Baltimore. McNally is struck out and grounded out to the pitcher. They're playing him shallow and over toward right to hit late. So he flies to deep left. Going back is Leon Jones on the warning track for the out. McNally nearly reached the fence with that one. He fooled everyone. 3 up and 3 down. At the end of 8 innings, the game is still tied. New York 1 and Baltimore 1.
Yes, come on.
Samurai warrior, why to be so unhappy?
Once have good job. Then shave with Gillette spoiler with miracle plastic coating so edge of cold steel not touch face for many shave.
So?
No, now I'm spoiled. Never can face cold steel again.
Advise to make love, not war.
That's a good idea.
Do you mean that we're sharing the same cabinet with the man in 2C?
That's 2D, Mona.
And he flings open the door and starts...
He tells me about his regular right guard and how one shot lasts him all day.
And you just stood there?
No, I told him about our right guard antiperspirant and how it stops odor and helps keep us dry.
Oh, wait.
Good morning. Hi. Hey. Ooh, your beautiful camera.
Two kinds of people, two kinds of right guard.
Her finger was in the door.
Together with Kurt Gowdy, this is Bill O'Donnell at Baltimore's Memorial Stadium, and a reminder that on Tuesday, the World Series moves to New York's Shea Stadium, where the amazing Mets fans can fill the park to the tune of almost 2,200,000 paid admissions this year. Welcome home one of the great Cinderella teams in modern baseball. And that should be a great ball game. You'll see it all happen on NBC beginning at 12:30, 11:30 Central Time, Tuesday. Here's Kurt Gowdy.
Don Clendenin has walked, hit a home run to right in the 4th, grounded out in the 6th. Fouls it away. Frank Robinson's having some troubles with his left leg. I think he heard it bumping into the wall on a catch earlier in the game, and they've been working on him in the Baltimore dugout. I think it's his left leg. He might have bruised it. Clendenin, Swoboda, and Charles for the Mets here in the top of the 9th. Strike 2. One ball, 2 strikes. McNally has struck out 6, walked 3, given up 3 hits. Koosman's allowed only 2 hits. And on deck, Ron Swoboda. Out of play. Our statistician has, during our regular Game of the Week series through the summer, here in the World Series is Alan Ross and our stage manager, Jim O'Gorman. One ball, 2 strikes to Don Clendenin. Some body English going on that one behind home plate, all leading into the strike zone. Ball 2, 2-2. Nobody on, nobody out in the top of the 9th. The game is tied 1-1. Fastball, striking out Clendenin. 7 strikeouts for Dave McNally. Ron Swoboda has fouled out, struck out, and flied out.
Number 4, Ron Swoboda.
Fairly good breeze has sprung up now and is blowing from first base towards third. Be a little factor here somewhere. 1 out, nobody on. Right on the letter. Frank Secora, umpiring in his 4th World Series. Fouls a curve off, and the count is 0-2. Mets threaten in the 7th, and McNally set him down in order in the 8th as the first man out here in the 9th. As ahead on the count is Swoboda with Charles on deck. Ball one. This has to be one of the best defensive World Series games ever played. We just had one corking play after another one by both clubs. A 1-2 pitch. Ground ball. Boog Powell off the bag. McNally will cover. 2 down. You know, Powell's an underrated first baseman, isn't he, Bill?
Most people, when they look at a big man, Kurt, they figure, you know, he doesn't cover too much ground and he's slow. But Powell, although he's 245 to 250 pounds, has fine reflexes, and he's very mobile for a big man, and he proved that mobility getting backhanded to that ground smash.
2 down, Ed Charles up. Grounded into a force play. Grounded to short and double to left. And once again, Brooks Robinson moves over on top of that third base line. With 2 down. And a tie game here in the 9th inning. It's a third strike to Charles. Charles does something. Jerry Grody would be up next. Looking ahead to the Orioles 9th, they have the top of the order up. Buford, Blair, and Frank Robinson. 0-2. The Mets are warming up. Tug McGraw in their bullpen. Two-strike pitch. Bounding ball into left field. Charles has his second hit in a row. Buford throws into Dave Johnson. Now the Mets have 4 hits, the Orioles 2 hits, and Jerry Grody the batter. Fly to center, rolled out to third and popped to short. Fastball strike to Grody. Charles stole only 4 bases in the year. No balls, 1 strike. Curve is inside to him. 1-1. Ed Charles at first, 2 away. Ball 2. Just got away from him. We pause briefly for station identification. Kurt Gowdy and Bill O'Donnell back here in Memorial Stadium, Baltimore. 2 down, game tied 1-1, top of the 9th, and Tony Kubek in the stand. The 2-1 pitch, foul down the first base line. Notice those insignias on top of the visitors' dugout, representing each club of the American League. Two and 2 to Jerry Grody. There goes Charles. There's a base hit to left. Charles is coming around to third. The throw goes into second. And the Mets have runners on first and third. So after 2 out, nobody on, successive singles by Charles and Grote. They had Charles running on the pitch, and he got over to third. And now George Bamberger, the Oriole pitching coach, is going to the mound. There's nobody warming up right now in the Oriole bullpen. He may just be coming out to talk to McNally. If you bring a right-hander on to Weiss, the Mets would undoubtedly shift to their left-handed hitters. And the left-handed hitters who haven't played in the first two games of this series were red hot against Atlanta.
Kurt, although these two clubs are playing each other for the first time, both clubs have personnel that have told their managers and the rest of their ball players about the strengths and weaknesses of the opposition. For example, Tommy Agee and Al Weiss of the Mets have both played in the American League and both played for the White Sox, and they know quite a bit about the Orioles. And two of the members of the Orioles, a relief pitcher, Dick Hall, and also a utility catcher, Clay Dalrymple, both played with the Phillies, so they know quite a bit about the Mets.
After Bamberger went back to the Oriole dugout, the sign went out to the Orioles for warm-up action. It's Dick Hall warming up again now. There's a base hit to left. Coming in to score Charles, and the Mets take the lead 2-1. 3 hits in a row for the Mets. Al Weiss coming through with a big hit here with 2 down in the top of the ninth. And Gary Koosman's up now. Koosman has struck out twice and grounded out. Gary Grody stops at second. Runners on first and second, 2 down. The Mets now have 2 runs, 6 hits. The Orioles 1 run, 2 hits. Nothing in 1 to Koosman. That's the lead runner, Grody at second. There's Al Weiss at first. He's been on base 3 times today. A .215 hitter has driven in the lead run. Hitting in the number 8 spot. That's the Barron block. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Weiss drove in the only run for the Mets yesterday. One ball, 1 strike to Jerry Koosman, who's going to come out and face the top of the Baltimore batting order in the last of the 9th inning. Buford, Blair, and Frank Robinson. Foul back. 1 ball, 2 strikes. On deck, Tom Agee at the top of the order. Two and two. Well, the bottom of the order has done it for the Mets here in the top of the 9th. The 2-2 pitch. Slow roller. Belanger charging. Throws him out. But the Mets had 1 run, 3 hits in a row. There were no errors and 2 left. We're going to the last of the 9th inning with a score. New York 2 and Baltimore 1.
If you don't have a personal checking account at the Bank of Commerce, here's what you're missing out on. A wallet like this, embossed in gold. A checkbook, your own personal checkbook to go inside it. A little book that lets you keep an up-to-date record of your account instantly. At the end of the month, you automatically receive a statement showing everything you've spent. And just to show you where you spent it, the Commerce mails back your canceled checks. A Commerce personal checking account is the most convenient way there is to run your family's finances. And believe me, running a family can be a big business.
Annual report.
Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, one of the world's great banks.
Gary Koosman just walking to the mound, getting a hand from some of the fans. And let's quickly go down to Tony Quebec.
Thank you, Kurt. With me once again, Mickey Mantle. Mickey, I have not seen very many World Series games where there were more great defensive plays made.
Well, I haven't either, Tony. I think that Brooks Robinson's made some of the best plays I've ever seen. Them plays where he comes running in along the infield there and grabs that ball and throws it on a dead run like that. I've seen him play a long time, but he still amazes me every time I see him.
Mick, you know what Al Weiss just did a moment ago in getting that clutch base hit has been typical of this Mets ball club all year long. It's always somebody different.
I know. It just seems like whenever they have to have a hit like that, they get one. It's going to be tough for the Orioles to score. It looked like the wind was changing for a while, but it's blowing in from right field. If they're going to hit one, they have to hit it over the left field fence.
Mick, thank you so much. Right now, let's go on back upstairs.
Don Buford leads off for the Baltimore Orioles in the last of the ninth. He is struck out, lined to short, and grounded out. He'll be followed by Blair and Frank Robinson. Gary Koosman had a no-hitter for 6 innings. The first hit off him was by Blair in the 7th. Brooks Robinson singled Blair in, and those have been the only 2 hits in the game. For the Orioles, here's the pitch. Ball 1 to Buford. Foul back. And right in our NBC telecasting booth for another souvenir. The Mets have an active bullpen. Tug McGraw, left-hander. Taylor, a right-hander, warming up. 1-1 pitch. Pop-up into right center. Swoboda calling for it. And there's 1 out. Swoboda's had 5 putouts today in right field. Well, so far, the Orioles have had their fewest hits in any game this season. Twice they were held to 3 hits during the year. They've had only 2 hits today. Paul Blair, fly to left, pops up and single. The Orioles have had an incredible home record this year. They won 63 and lost only 21 here all year. Koosman's curve hangs outside for him. Ball 1. He's had a live fastball today, a good curve, and then he's changed up, mixed them up. Sharp control. Ball 2, 2-0. He's walked only 1 man. On deck, Frank Robinson. That was Dave Johnson in the 2nd. Foul back. Mets are leading 2-1, last of the 9th. Outside of that 1 walk, Koosman's had only 2 3-2 counts in the game. Now he's 3-1 for Paul Blair. Frank Robinson to follow, and then Boog Powell. Strike 2. There's an interesting thing to look at the infield. Ed Charles is right on the third base line, and so is Don Clendenin. They don't want anything to go down that line for extra bases. That's Charles. Look at him, just a step off the third base line. And Clendenin very close to the line at first. Ground ball to short. Bud Harrelson's throw to Clendenin, 2 down. The Orioles' last chance now is Frank Robinson. Slide to deep right center in the 1st, grounded to short in the 4th, and slide to center in the 7th. Only 90 pitches have been thrown in this game by Jerry Koosman. And now they're going to put 4 outfielders against Robinson. Al Weiss is going out to left field, the second baseman. In the left center goes Jones. Agee goes to right center, and Swoboda's in right field. 4 outfielders are now defense. Gil Hodges did this against certain dangerous long ball hitters certain times during the season. So a special defense of 4 outfielders and 3 infielders now aligned against Frank Robinson. Trying to keep the ball from going in the gaps or in the corners. Gil Hodges sitting down. He hasn't made many mistakes this year. Ball 1. But he did a great job managing over at Washington in the American League, too. Two down, nobody on. 1 ball, no strike. A strike on a fastball. 1-1. Something of Robinson flat out to the second baseman in deep left field. Strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Frank Robinson. Koosman throwing just as hard now as he did in the first inning. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Curve is a little bit low. 2-2. Robinson can hit to right field. Maybe try to go to that open right side of the infield, if he can. 2-2 count. Fouled out of play. Mets are leading 2-1. The Orioles have 2 down, nobody on, and a 2-2 count to Frank Robinson. Three and 2. A 3-2 pitch. He walked him. The Orioles have the tying run on. Now Al Weiss is going to have a runner for Frank Robinson, who has a bad leg, evidently. Rettenmund is coming in to run for Robinson at first. Al Weiss comes from left field back to second base. Merv Rettenmund now running at first. And Frank Robinson, who's hobbled evidently with a bad left leg. You can see him limping as he goes into the dugout. Rube Walker's gone out to talk to Koosman. Don Clendenin's there on the mound. And the dangerous Boop Powell's up. Struck out, grounded out, popped up. Two hits and 2 walks. All that Koosman has allowed today. He has struck out 4. Ball 1, coming in with that crossfire delivery against the left-handed batter. Brooks Robinson on deck. Rettenmund at first, 2 down. Foul back. One and 1 to Powell. Trying to hold Rettenmund close. Curve is ball 2. Brody blocking it out in front of him as the catcher should do. 2 balls and a strike. Doug McGraw, Ron Taylor, still loosening up in the net bullpen. Three and one. Now Ed Charles wants to come over and talk to Koosman. He's pitching fine, of course, to Frank Robinson and to Powell. You have to. Let's see what he gives him now on 3 and 1 with 2 down. Rettman at first. Pickleball. Foul tip. 3 and 2. 2 down. Rettman will be running on the pitch. There goes Rettman. Ball 4. With 2 away. And the batter will be Brooks Robinson. Gil Hodges now, the manager of the Mets, is coming out. Speaking of comeback, what a comeback he made. We said hello to him on a World Series last year when he was in the hospital with a heart attack. And here he is now managing in a World Series a year later. This is where the managers earn their money right now with the decision. Leave him in or take him out. He's going to take him out, and Ron Taylor. Ron Taylor is going to come in to pitch to Brooks Robinson. He should get a tremendous ovation, Koosman. What a game he pitched here today.
Kurt, Koosman came within 1 out of pitching a complete ball game. He was extremely strong through the middle innings when he retired 13 in a row. There's a break in the action right here at Baltimore with a score in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Mets 2 and the Orioles 1.
The river's a giant, blind and strong, sweeping and driving the logs along, pushing them up on the rocks and the shore, till the men set them free to go tumbling once more. The treacherous jams will tax all their skill as the bold, hardy loggers press on to the mill, but their task never ends till the long drive is done, and the satisfied loggers have conquered the run. And then their reward is an O'Keefe ale. It's smoother than the rest. Yes, O'Keefe is the ale these men enjoy. O'Keefe ale satisfies best. O'Keefe ale, the right ale for right now.
Right after we sign off here in this World Series game in Baltimore, you'll see one of the following games of American Football League action. Either the New York Jets at Cincinnati, Houston at Kansas City, or the Oakland Raiders against the Denver Broncos at Denver. Ron Taylor, who pitched yesterday 2 innings, allowing no hits, no runs of relief. 31 years old, born and lives in Toronto, Ontario. He won 9 and lost 4 for the Mets this year, had 13 saves, and an earned run average of 2.72. Brooks Robinson came up with 2 down, and Paul Blair on second in the 7th and singled him home. After 2 out, Koosman walked Frank Robinson and Boog Powell. Well, the Mets are still trying to get this last out. It's always the hardest one. They nearly hit him. Ball 1 to Brooks Robinson. Gary Koosman went 8 2/3 innings, allowed only 2 hits, both those hits coming in the 7th. 1 run. He's responsible for the 2 men on. He walked 3 and he struck out 4. Rettman on second. Yesterday, Taylor struck out Brooks Robinson for the last out of the Orioles' 8th. 1 ball, no strikes. They play Robinson straight away. A check swing. Ball 2. Started, held up. See that look he gave umpire Satori. Just to say you call that one right. 2 balls and no strikes. Redmond at second. Boot foul at first. Curve is in. 2-1. You may be saying to Taylor, you better get down a little bit, those pitches. It's been up high to Robinson. Two balls and a strike. Three and one. Tug McGraw still warming up in the Met bullpen, a left-hander. Robinson swinging at an outside pitch. That looked like ball 4 for sure. 3-2 now, 2 down. The runners will be going. Redmond at second. Powell at first. He said, let's go. 3-2. We're going. There go the runners. There's a ground ball to Charles. Takes the bag of throw to first. He had ideas to go to third. He would have been late there. He went to first. Glendenon dug it out of the dirt, and the Mets win it 2-1. Charles made a quick mental recovery on that one. What a ball game this was. In the 9th inning, Baltimore, no runs, no hits, no errors. They left 2. The final score, the New York Mets, 2 runs, 6 hits, and no errors. The Baltimore Orioles, 1 run.
Coyotes don't make it. Roadrunners make it. Plymouth makes it. The 1970 Roadrunner, the car that's all go. You can get it with a 440 cubic inch engine with 3 two-barreled carburetors. And you can get it with a driver-controlled air scoop up front. A square on the highway doesn't make it. 440 cubes in a Roadrunner make it. Plymouth makes it.
Be sure to join us on Tuesday for World Series Baseball. Game number 3 features the Baltimore Orioles versus the New York Mets from Shea Stadium in New York. World Series Baseball has been a CBC TV Sports color presentation in association with NBC Sports. This is the CBC Television Network.